I will show you some example of how a good cover should be. As I mentioned earlier, the cover is the second most important factor to be successful after keywords. So, this is one of the most important lessons of the course. Watch it carefully, and re-watch it until you don't have clear in mind what I am talking about. In choosing a good cover, there are some common patterns that you can recognize, and that you have to follow to make something that will be eye-catching for your clients. However, remember that this is not an exact science. So my goal is giving you some advice that has worked for me and for my experience, but the final goal is that you will be able to develop after some time your sensibility about these common patterns. So let's look for some example. Let's try, for example, meditation. Well, the first thing you have to keep in mind is that the title must be visible. And it must always be our keyword. Look here, for example. There is absolutely no keyword in the title. And in this book, the title is not visible. Is too small. I mean, even if you have good eyesight, you struggle to read it. So the first criteria are this: the title must always be neat or visible. The second is that it must always be your profitable keyword. The subtitle instead, it can be smaller, and this is not a problem. You can see these two books have a poor BSR. Note that are sponsored books. This means that someone is paying money to put it here, and at first glance, you will not think about a book on meditation. I mean, meditation is a state of mind and is hard to describe with pictures. But let's look at this other book. As you can see, it looks more professional, even if it does not have a picture. The title is very clear and visible, and even the subtitle, the general aspect of this cover is very professional, is very neat and simple, but at the same time, it tells you all you have to know about the content. So the third criteria are that the cover must not look confused. It must not have blurred images or objects out of place. It must give the idea that you have spent time in doing it. If you know what I mean. Look at this other one, for example. Is not bad. I would have preferred more contrast with the title and the background. But you see that the title and the subtitle are clear and visible. This one also is a good cover. Even here, the main keywords are visible. The picture is very congruent and looks professional, very sharp and defined. You see the text is not plain, but it has a bit of texture inside, and the image is not blurred and is congruent with the content. You can immediately say that this is a book about meditation. This is another criteria. If you use pictures for your cover, it must be a premium picture. Something very professional and not a cheap low-resolution image that was stolen somewhere around the internet. The author is generally at the bottom of the cover, is where people expect it to be. As I told you, this is not an exact science and you have to deal with other people's expectancy. So the main expectation is the author at the bottom. Obviously, nothing prohibits you to put it at the top or somewhere else. But if you are undecided, just leave it at the bottom and you can't go wrong. Let's look at another category. Instant Pot, for example. Dieting and cookbook are two niches very competitive, and as you can see there are lots of sophisticated covers here. You can also put a collection of the picture if you want. Like this, guys. Look this cover, for example. The text is not the best, but all the things are in the right place, and look at the image. You see how good is this piece of meat. This other one, for example. This is not a good cover. Even if the pictures are not particularly bad. There is too much confusion here. The text is very simple and is scattered around all the cover. And this pot is very out of place. It looks there just because nobody knows a better place. Look this other one instead. It's similar, but it looks way less confusing. Is neater. Even the meals look sharper. It looks definitively more professional than the other one. Again, this is not a science but only a matter of experience. To sum up things. First, the title visible, and it must be the key word. The general aspect, it must be professional and neat. There must be some contrast between the picture and the text to make it more readable. The pictures must be premium. And don't mix too many things. I am going to show you where to get your cover. There are some options. You can do it yourself, which I don't recommend at all. Or you can get your cover made by some freelancer graphic designer that will produce a professional, good-looking cover for some bucks. The most common way to find a designer is going on Fiverr.com. This is a very cool website and we will use a lot later in the course. Is a site where people put gigs for $5 or more. You have to type what you are looking for and search among the offers you will find. So, let's click onto the search bar and type book cover design. As you can see, there are plenty of options available. Now, the price of this service is increased a lot during the years. And as you can see, some people ask you $50 or even more than $100 for a cover. You don't want to pay so much for a cover. I mean, I have no doubt that these people will do excellent work. But especially if you are at the beginning of this business, you want to save money. So start to analyze the gigs. And you will find that there are lots of people that can make a good cover for you for $10. Ideally, you don't want to pay more than $15 for a good cover. I don't recommend to you anyone, even if I have to admit that among these pages there is someone I use a lot. But I don't want to influence you. All of these people can make a good job for you. And there are lots of new graphic designer that cannot still be in high demand and can make the gig for you for a bunch of dollars. So just go on and give it a try. You see this, for example. $5. 3 days of delivery time, which is reasonable. It could be a good choice for you. Remember that people that are in high demand usually tend to have also longer delivery time. You don't want to wait too much for a cover. 2 or 3 days are more than enough. There is no reason to wait 5 days or a week for a cover. On the other hand, lots of them offer express delivery. Obviously will charge you more money for this. But you don't need this service. I mean, you have to schedule your production and so, you should never be in a hurry. After a while, you will probably have developed a relationship with your graphic designer. And if you will start giving him a steady amount of works. So you will obviously negotiate a better price or quicker delivery time. I mean, if you are serious about this business, you will probably make at least 4 to 5 books each month. And a serious freelancer will probably tend to favor returning clients. And if they don't, just change. There are plenty of them that can do a good job for you. Something very important you want to make sure when you ordering your cover, is that the gig must include a stock premium image. Some designers don't, and some others charge you more money for the service. Last advice. I don't recommend you going beyond Fiverr in searching for your graphic designer. You could go on Upwork, or some other freelancing site. However, on these sites, you have to post ads and screen people. They tend to be more expensive. Personally, I don't have had good results. So I don't recommend this option. Stay on Fiverr. Search for some good and honest graphic designers. And you will be fine.